His name echoes across 23 centuries, a whisper of impossible ambition and legendary conquest. Alexander the Great, the king of a small kingdom called Macedon, who forged an empire stretching from the sun-baked shores of Greece to the lush valleys of India, all before his 33rd birthday. He was a hurricane of a man, a tactical genius who never lost a battle, a figure who blurred the line between man and God. He founded cities that became centers of learning and power, the greatest of which still bears his name, Alexandria in Egypt. But for a man who seemed to conquer everything in his path, there was one foe even Alexander could not defeat: death. In 323 BC, in the Grand Palace of Babylon, under a sky he once dreamed of ruling, the great king succumbed to a mysterious illness. The empire he built with his sword began to shatter almost immediately, fractured by the ambitions of his generals. But the fate of his physical body, the shell of this demigod, became one of history's most tantalizing and enduring mysteries. The question isn't just about the location of a tomb, it's about the final resting place of a legend. So, where is Alexander the Great buried? The story of Alexander's burial is as dramatic as his life. For days, his body lay in the Babylonian palace, untouched, as if his generals couldn't bring themselves to believe he was truly gone. The task of preparing the funeral carriage fell to Aridaeus, one of his officers. The description from ancient historians is the stuff of fantasy. They speak of a coffin of hammered gold, filled with rare spices to preserve the body and mask the scent of decay. The coffin itself was placed inside a magnificent golden temple-like carriage drawn by 64 mules. This wasn't just a funeral procession. It was a mobile statement of power. The initial plan was to take the body back to the royal burial grounds in Aegae, the ancient capital of Macedon. But Alexander's general Ptolemy had other ideas. Ptolemy had secured Egypt as his slice of the empire, and he understood the immense symbolic value of possessing Alexander's body. To control the hero's corpse was to control his legacy, to lend divine legitimacy to his own fledgling dynasty. So, in a bold move, Ptolemy intercepted the grand funeral cortege and redirected it to Egypt, to the city of Memphis, near modern-day Cairo. For a time, Alexander rested in Memphis. But Ptolemy II, the son of the first Ptolemy, had a grander vision. He moved the body to Alexandria, the shining metropolis Alexander himself had founded. There, he built a magnificent tomb, a place of pilgrimage for the entire ancient world. This tomb became known as the Sema, or Soma, meaning the body. For centuries, it was the city's crown jewel. Julius Caesar, the great Roman conqueror, came to pay his respects, reportedly weeping at the sight of the man he admired above all others. Augustus Caesar, the first Roman emperor, visited the tomb and, in a moment of profound disrespect, or perhaps clumsy admiration, is said to have placed a golden diadem on Alexander's head and scattered flowers over the body. The Roman emperor Caracalla, over 200 years later, visited and left his own ring and belt as offerings. The last clear, reliable historical accounts of the tomb date from the late 3rd century AD. After that, the trail goes cold. Alexandria was rocked by riots, tsunamis, and gradual decline. The exact location of the Sema, once the most famous spot in the city, was lost to time, buried beneath centuries of silt, rubble, and new construction. This is where the mystery truly ignites. For over 400 years, the tomb was a verified landmark. Then, silence. Its disappearance has fueled an obsession that has lasted longer than the Roman Empire itself. Archaeologists, historians, and treasure hunters have scoured Alexandria, digging under its bustling streets and probing its Mediterranean waters, all in search of the ultimate prize. Over the years, several tantalizing theories have emerged, each with its own compelling evidence and passionate believers. One of the most persistent theories points to a site in the heart of modern Alexandria, beneath the Nabi Daniel Mosque. This theory suggests that the ancient Sema lies directly below this active place of worship. The mosque itself is built upon layers of older ruins, a common feature in a city as ancient as Alexandria. Some early explorers reported seeing a hidden subterranean chamber, but proper archaeological investigation is impossible here. The site is sacred, and Egyptian authorities are rightfully reluctant to allow disruptive excavations. So, while the Nabi Daniel Mosque remains a prime suspect, it is a locked door, guarding its secrets fiercely. It represents the frustrating nature of this search. The answer might be right there, just a few meters underground, but completely inaccessible to modern science. Perhaps the most dramatic modern theory comes from a Greek archaeologist, Liana Souvaltsi. In the 1990s, she announced a bombshell. She had found the tomb not in Alexandria, but hundreds of miles away in the remote Siwa oasis. This theory is captivating because it connects to a pivotal moment in Alexander's life. Early in his Egyptian campaign, Alexander made a perilous journey across the desert to consult the famous oracle of Amun at Siwa. The oracle, a powerful religious figure, reportedly greeted Alexander as the son of Amun, effectively confirming his divine status in Egyptian theology. Souvaltsi claimed to have discovered a large labyrinthine tomb complex near Siwa that matched ancient descriptions of Alexander's final resting place. She spoke of inscriptions and a grand scale fit for a king. However, her claims were met with intense skepticism from the broader archaeological community. The Egyptian government revoked her excavation permit, and her findings were largely dismissed as unsubstantiated. The Siwa theory is the romantic underdog of the story, a poetic idea that Alexander was returned to the place that first called him a god. But it lacks the crucial weight of scholarly consensus. Then there is the strange, globe-trotting theory. In the story of Alexander's lost tomb, a bizarre subplot involves the city of Venice, Italy. In the Basilica of St. Mark, the city's patron saint, lies a body said to be that of the evangelist himself. But how did it get there? The story goes that in the 9th century, Venetian merchants smuggled the relics of St. Mark out of Alexandria in a barrel, hidden under layers of pork to deter Muslim inspectors. Here's where it gets interesting. Some historians, like Andrew Chugg, have proposed a wild possibility. What if those merchants, in their haste or confusion, didn't take the body of St. Mark? What if they took the body of Alexander the Great? The theory suggests that the tomb of the Sema had been repurposed as a Christian church dedicated to St. Mark, and over time, the identity of the famous occupant was forgotten. The body in St. Mark's Basilica has never been scientifically examined. This theory is a historical thriller, a tale of mistaken identity spanning continents and millennia. It's a long shot, but it speaks to the incredible lengths this mystery has gone, suggesting that Alexander might not be lost in the sands of Egypt, but enshrined in the heart of a European city. Modern archaeology has added another layer of complexity to the search. We now know that the Alexandria of Ptolemy's time looked very different from the Alexandria of today. A significant portion of the ancient city, including the royal quarter where the Sema was likely located, has sunk beneath the Mediterranean Sea due to earthquakes and subsidence. This has shifted the search from land to water. Underwater archaeologists like Frank Gaudio have made stunning discoveries in the harbor of Alexandria, unearthing statues, palaces, and even the ruins of the fabled lighthouse of Pharos. With all these theories, with centuries of failed searches, we have to ask, why does it matter? Alexander has been dead for over 2 millennia. His empire is dust. Why does the location of his bones still captivate us? It's because Alexander the Great is more than a historical figure. He is an idea. He represents the peak of human potential, the boundless drive to see what lies beyond the next horizon. He is a symbol of youth, ambition, and the tragic fragility of power. So, where is Alexander the Great buried? The honest, frustrating, and perhaps beautiful answer is, we still don't know. He could be under a mosque in Alexandria, waiting silently for a day when technology allows us to see through stone without disturbing it. He could be at the Siwa oasis. A king returned to the desert oracle that named him a god. He could be resting in a basilica in Venice, a pagan ruler venerated for centuries as a Christian saint. Or his golden sarcophagus could be lying on the floor of the Mediterranean Sea, surrounded by the sunken pillars of his own city, a maritime mausoleum for a conqueror who once ruled the known world. The mystery of Alexander's tomb is a mirror. It reflects our own endless fascination with greatness, our desire to reach back through time and grasp the hem of legend. Perhaps the search is as important as the discovery, for as long as we are looking for Alexander, the spirit of his ambition, the relentless human drive to explore, to question, and to seek answers remains very much alive. And in a way, that means Alexander the Great is not truly buried at all.